Pluto just went retrograde, and the shift. It's not subtle. From May 4th to October 13th, we've entered a slow-burning storm of transformation, and the pressure is already rising. This isn't some abstract celestial event. Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, control, and deep psychological power. When it turns retrograde, especially while shifting from Aquarius back into Capricorn, the effects aren't loud, but they're seismic. You may not see the quake yet, but you'll feel it in your gut, in your choices, in your relationships. Things that felt stable start to feel shaky. Patterns you thought you healed start creeping back. That's not regression, it's revelation. Pluto is digging under the surface to show you what's been quietly running your life in the background. Fear, shame, survival mechanisms, unhealed stories. This is the Cosmic Audit. And here's the truth: if you avoid it, it will move through you like fire. But if you face it, even imperfectly, it can rebuild your life from a place of raw, soul-deep power. So if you've been feeling off, on edge, or strangely reflective, this is why. It's happening now. And what's coming next might just change how you see everything. Hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because we're about to unpack exactly what's shifting and why it matters more than even. Chapter 1: The Great Reversal. Why this Pluto retrograde hits different. This Pluto retrograde isn't like the ones we've seen before, and if you're feeling it already, you're not imagining things. Yes, Pluto goes retrograde every year, but this time it's retracing its steps between two very different energies, Aquarius and Capricorn. That's where the real plot twist is. Aquarius is about the future, innovation, rebellion, breaking norms, rewriting the rules. Over the past year, many people started feeling the nudge to break free, quit the job, question authority, change identity, chase freedom. That Aquarian energy gave us a glimpse of who we could become if we dared to evolve. But now, Pluto is reversing back into Capricorn, the sign of structure, tradition, control, and old systems. And suddenly, all the pieces you thought you'd left behind are resurfacing. This reversal isn't random. It's not the universe punishing your growth or pulling you backward for no reason. It's spiritual engineering. Think of it as cosmic quality control. Before you level up, Pluto wants to know, is your foundation strong? Did you actually heal that pattern or just run from it? Did you truly step into your power, or did you just decorate your cage with better wallpaper? This is the kind of energy that makes you second-guess everything, but not to make you spiral. Pluto wants you to clarify. If your job suddenly feels unbearable again, if that ex slides into your DMs, if you're suddenly dreaming about high school or your childhood home, don't dismiss it. That's Pluto saying, hey, before we move forward, we need to go back and check what's still leaking energy. What's been unresolved will now come knocking, louder and more persistent, not to haunt you, but to free you, if you're willing to look at it honestly. Emotionally, this can feel like nostalgia on steroids. You might catch yourself reliving old conversations in your head, feeling attached to identities you've outgrown, or mourning parts of your past you never fully grieved. It's not weakness, it's integration. This retrograde wants you to take your power back from the past, not pretend it didn't shape you. And if you're wondering why the emotional volume is getting turned up out of nowhere, it's because Pluto in Capricorn doesn't play around. It targets legacy, long-term structures, the bones of your life, and asks, does this still work? Or have you outgrown it, but stayed out of habit? Pluto isn't here to take you back to square one. It's here to walk you back through the hallway so you can finally close the doors you left half open. That's why this retrograde hits so differently. The shifts aren't just external, they're internal, structural and soul level. And the discomfort you're feeling? That's a signal. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. So if your past is suddenly showing up in high definition, don't run from it. It's not a trap, it's a checkpoint. And how you respond here decides what version of you gets to move forward. Keep watching, because next, we're diving into the exact signs this retrograde is already active in your life, and how to use them as portals, not pitfalls. Chapter 2. The 4 core energies that are already being activated. Whether you're aware of it or not, Pluto retrograde is already pulsing through your life, and it doesn't always show up as chaos. It shows up as pressure, intensity, and a quiet inner pull you can't explain. But if you know what to look for, these shifts stop being confusing and start becoming powerful. Let's break down the 4 core energies this retrograde is activating right now. If any of these feel familiar, it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Number 1. Control cracks are showing. You were holding it all together. The plans were in motion. The relationship was steady. The job made sense, even if only on paper. But now, the grip is slipping. Conversations feel tense. Deadlines start to overwhelm. Emotions rise out of nowhere. It feels like things are unraveling, and the instinct is to tighten the grip, to regain control, to fix it fast. But Pluto doesn't work on the surface. Pluto digs beneath it. This isn't random chaos, it's a reveal. Pluto retrograde exposes false control, the kind built on fear, obligation, or performance. It targets the areas where you've been micromanaging life because you didn't feel safe enough to surrender to something deeper. Maybe you've been clinging to a job that drains you because it's secure. Maybe you've been staying quiet in a relationship to avoid conflict. Maybe your whole life looks perfect, but it feels hollow. That's the illusion Pluto is burning down. Why this matters is simple but not easy. New power can't be born in a system run by fear, so if everything is starting to feel shaky, good. That means something real is trying to emerge beneath the performance. Control was never strength, it was survival. But clarity, seeing what's real and letting go of what's not, is your actual power. So if it feels like your old strategies are failing, you're not failing. You're evolving. The mask is cracking, and what's underneath is truth. And that truth leads us right into the next pattern this retrograde is stirring up, the past. Because the ghosts you thought you buried, they're not done talking yet. Number 2. Old ghosts return. And if you haven't felt the illusion of control cracking yet, there's another way Pluto retrograde might already be working through you, one that's just as powerful but way more personal, the return of the past. You might start hearing from people you thought were gone for good. Maybe it's an ex, maybe it's a parent you've been distant from, or maybe it's subtler than that, an emotional pattern, a childhood fear, a limiting belief you thought you outgrew suddenly showing up like it never left. These moments can feel like déjà vu, but heavier, familiar emotions with unfamiliar intensity. And no, it's not random. Pluto in retrograde acts like soul-level debugging software. It scans your inner world for old code, beliefs, wounds, and roles you've outgrown, but never fully uninstalled. So when these ghosts return, they're not just coming back to haunt you. They're showing you what's still active within you. These moments aren't tests, they're mirrors. The memory of that relationship, the sudden flood of childhood insecurity, the pattern you thought you healed showing up in a new disguise. All of it is information, and your job isn't to judge it or push it away. Your job is to ask, What part of me still believes this is who I am? This retrograde isn't about pretending the past never happened. It's about reclaiming your power from it. Because when you face the old story with new eyes, you unlock the freedom to write a different ending. And that brings us straight into the next activation point, one that's not emotional, but obsessive. Let's talk about why you suddenly can't stop thinking about something or someone. Number 3, the urge to burn it all down. If you've recently felt the sudden, almost impulsive urge to quit your job, leave a relationship, delete everything, or disappear from your current life, you're not losing it. That restless energy, that fire under your skin that says, "I can't do this anymore," that's Pluto. And it's not chaos, it's clarity trying to get your attention. Pluto retrograde stirs liberation disguised as frustration. It highlights everything that feels fake, forced, or misaligned. And when you feel like walking away from something you used to tolerate, that's not rebellion, it's realization. You're waking up to the fact that certain roles, environments, or expectations no longer fit the version of you that's emerging. And Pluto will not let you keep pretending. But here's the caution: don't confuse the desire to break free with the impulse to destroy everything. Not everything needs to be torched. Some things just need to be redefined. Pluto's message isn't just burn it down. It's burn what's false and rebuild what's true. If something feels like it's reaching its expiration date, listen, but don't rush. Move with focus, not fire. Because what you choose to let go of now will make space for what's truly meant to rise next. Number 4, you're craving quiet. If you've been cancelling plans, ignoring messages, or just wanting to be left alone without knowing exactly why, don't panic. You're not being antisocial or off. You're being recalibrated. Pluto retrograde has a way of turning the volume down on the external world, so the internal one can finally be heard. This energy pulls you inward, deep into reflection. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's incredibly powerful. You may feel the urge to disconnect from the noise, the hustle, even the people you usually vibe with, and that's not a sign that something's wrong. It's a signal that your soul is asking for space. Because in stillness, things become clear. The pressure lifts, the truth has room to speak. And here's a fun twist. Instead of forcing yourself to be productive, try doing something slightly weird. Journal your dreams, clean out your digital clutter, delete apps that no longer serve you. These small acts of quiet rebellion clear energetic space. You'll be surprised at the insights that show up when you stop filling every moment with noise. Stillness isn't stagnation, it's strategy, and in that silence, something deeper is waiting to rise. So let's talk about what happens after these energies activate and how to use them without getting overwhelmed. Chapter 3. This retrograde could go either way. Here's the truth about Pluto retrograde. It doesn't choose your path. You do. This energy is neither good nor bad on its own. It's pressure, it's exposure, and depending on how you respond, it will either feel like a breakthrough or a breakdown. If you're ready, this retrograde becomes one of the most empowering portals of your life. You'll finally start seeing where you've been handing over your power, whether to a job, a partner, a story, or a version of yourself that no longer fits. Lifelong cycles, like people-pleasing, over-controlling, or playing small, will become visible. And visibility is everything, because you can't change what you're still pretending not to see. The authority you step into during this time won't be loud, performative power. It'll be quiet, unshakable, soul-led power. Not because someone gave you permission, but because you finally stopped asking for it. But if you're avoiding, if you're clinging to what's safe, ignoring the triggers, numbing out or blaming others, this retrograde won't go away quietly. The same lessons will show up again, but louder. The patterns will loop, the restlessness will build, and it may feel like life is working against you. It's not. It's just pushing you toward what you've been resisting. Pluto doesn't punish, it reveals. And what it reveals is not to scare you, it's to wake you up. Because transformation doesn't come from control, it comes from courage. And how you show up now in the discomfort is the transformation. So, will you respond with fear or with clarity? Because what you choose in this season will echo far beyond October. Let's talk about how to work with this energy so you don't get wrecked by it. Chapter 4. How to use this energy, not get wrecked by it. Most people will survive Pluto retrograde. They'll grit their teeth, hold it together, distract themselves with work, social media, or surface-level self-care, and wait for it to pass. But let's be real, survival isn't the goal anymore. Not for you. Not now. Because this retrograde, it's not here to break you, it's here to rebuild you. And the bold ones, the ones who stop pretending, who stop performing, who stop waiting for the right time to change. They use this energy to shift everything. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to know exactly where you're going. What you do need is to stop lying to yourself about what's working. Because Pluto's not asking you to fix your life. It's asking you to get honest about what's fake, what's forced, and what's finished. And when you do, when you finally stop trying to control every outcome and start trusting your own internal compass, that's when power returns. So ask yourself the hard questions. Where are you still clinging to control because you don't trust what's next? What are you still afraid to release? Because if you let it go, who would you even be without it? What dream, what identity, what relationship are you holding on to? Not because it feeds your soul, but because it makes you feel safe. Pluto doesn't want the version of you who's surviving. It wants the version who's becoming. But you can't just think your way through this. You have to move energy. You have to get your hands on it. Clean your space like it's a ritual. Delete the messages, the photos, the apps that tie you to a past that's expired. Clear out your calendar the same way you clear out your closet. Make room. Because clarity doesn't come when your life is cluttered with what you no longer align with. It comes in the silence after release. Let the emotions come. Let the grief hit. Let the clarity wreck you a little. Because that kind of breakdown isn't weakness. It's awakening. You're not spiraling. You're surfacing. You're not falling apart. You're finally letting go of what was never real in the first place. That's not drama. That's transformation. And no, this isn't just shadow work. This is soul work. This is you stepping out of who you had to be to survive and stepping into who you were always meant to become. It's not supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to feel true. And that truth? It will cost you your comfort, but it will give you back your power. Don't sit this one out. Don't shrink. Don't settle. You didn't come this far just to keep playing a role you've already outgrown. Use the discomfort. Use the silence. Use the storm. Because what you choose in this retrograde won't just shift your next season. It could rewrite your entire story. Now let's talk about why this isn't just a temporary phase, but the launchpad for something permanent, generational, and deeply personal. Let's be clear, Pluto retrograde doesn't come to rearrange the furniture. It comes to burn the entire illusion down, and not out of cruelty, but out of cosmic loyalty to your truth. From May 4th to October 13th, the universe isn't punishing you. It's reprogramming you, not at the surface, not just in your habits or your mindset, but at the deepest level, your source code, the blueprint of who you are, who you thought you had to be, and who you are truly here to become. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. You may feel disoriented. You may lose people who can't walk with you into the next version of your life. Old dreams you once clung to might start feeling heavy, irrelevant, even false. That's not failure, that's evolution. Pluto isn't taking anything from you that's meant to stay. It's stripping away everything that no longer serves who you're becoming. The job, the identity, the role, the mask. It may crack, it may fall, but only to reveal the power that's been underneath the whole time. You are not being broken, you are being rebuilt. And no, the universe is not your enemy. These events, this retrograde, this chaos, it's not here to ruin you. It's here to refine you. You asked for clarity, you asked for freedom, you asked for transformation. But the path to that is never wrapped in comfort. It's carved through pressure, through truth, through letting go of everything fake so something real can finally rise. And here's the thing most people forget. You're not just surviving this moment. You were built for it. You wouldn't be here, listening, feeling this shift, if you weren't already awakening. The ones who fear this energy, they resist it. But the wise ones, the brave ones, they use it. And you are one of them. You are one of the souls that came here to live on purpose, to break the lineage of fear, to build something unshakable from within. And Pluto doesn't waste its time with the faint of heart. It moves through those ready to rise. And yes, you're ready, even if you don't feel like it, even if you're scared, even if you're crying while listening to this. Because fear doesn't disqualify you, avoidance does. And you've already chosen not to avoid. You're here, you're aware, you're already ahead of the curve. So what do you do now? You stop performing. You stop negotiating with the old version of you that only knew how to shrink. You stop asking for permission to change, and you start becoming the person your soul has been calling you toward this entire time. You walk away from what drains you. You step toward what lights you up. You get honest. You release what's expired. You move like your healing matters. Because it does. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of you, the real you, the version of you that doesn't need to prove, please, or pretend. The version of you that carries quiet power, not because you control everything, but because you trust yourself completely. And that kind of power, Pluto respects it. The universe rewards it, and your next chapter requires it. So don't fear this retrograde. Own it. Let it shape you. Let it show you where your strength actually lives. Because once you see it, once you taste that truth, you'll never settle for less again. This is your launch pad into purpose, into alignment, into the you that's been buried under years of survival. Now is the time. The door is open. What you choose next, that's what writes your legacy. If this resonated, if you felt this, drop the number 77 in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, stay close. Because what's coming next will only build on this, and you won't want to miss it.